Hey there, CS320 students. So in this recording, we're going to talk about the code coverage tool that is available in Eclipse. Keep in mind that your final submissions, you'll need to achieve code coverage of 90% in your data encapsulation class as well as your service layer implementation. So let's suppose that in this school service class, let's suppose that we've got this method to get all of the elements. So we're going to get a public list of type school. Let's call it get. And we're going to create a list. And I'm going to return my list here at the end. So I want to get a list of all the schools that are in my service implementation right here. So again, we want to avoid returning an exact copy right here. So if I return this copy, I could be letting people manipulate that reference. So we're going to return a deep copy. So we're going to do this, schools dot for each, and we're going to go copied dot add new school, and we're going to give it school there. So this lets me loop through each of the school, and I copy it, and I create a deep copy, a new reference each and every time. Great, this is going to be returned as copied. If there are no schools, then I'll get a blank list. So in our Java doc, returns an empty list if none are, if none exist. The list of schools, or none if it is empty. Okay, so great. So reason I add this here is I don't have any code to test this. So we want to have 90% code coverage. So if I go back to my service implementation, we've been running as, well, we can do a coverage as. So we'll do a coverage as JUnit. And so you'll see that the coverage window opens up, and I can expand here, and I can see in my test code what percentage of code is being executed. We're interested in the implementation code, so I can come down here, and in the school service layer, you can see that I'm only testing 80% of the code. So in the school service, again, we had what, 80%? 80% coverage. So sometimes it may not read the if statements. That's okay. Again, a loop and an if statement, sometimes that's probably okay. And then look, if I see a red, that definitely means this code was never actually executed. If I go to the school class, I can see that 64% of the code was covered. So, oh, I don't have any tests to check if the name is null. I should have a test that tests that my name, if it doesn't have enough characters, should throw the illegal argument exception. So why I'm seeing that, I'm not exactly sure, right? Because I did the test school service. Okay, so let me come back here. Let's wipe this out. So if you just click the X, that'll remove the active, or if I remove all sessions. Let's right-click our package of tests, run as JUnit. That'll run the entire package. Now when I come over here, and why did it not? Oh, I did run as. I want to do coverage as JUnit. There we go. So now I can get the coverage dialog to appear. And now when I go into my source, I can see that the school is at only 64%. I'm struggling to understand why that is, because I thought in my test school, I check if maybe I don't have a test for the maximum characters. Let's go look. Test school, min value. Null value more than. So why did this not execute? Right click, coverage as JUnit. There we go. For some reason, it just wasn't running. My school test, there it is. My school class itself is at 87.5%. Remember, 90% is the magic number, but let's go look at what school has here. So it did. So I don't test my copy constructor, so I should probably have a test that tests my copy constructor to get to the 90% effort. So I can go through here and I clear it out every time I want it reset. But we want to get to 90% code coverage. And again, if I go back here, right click, debug as I want a coverage as JUnit. So again, in my service implementation, I'm not at 90%, and when we go to it, we know for sure that we don't have any code that tests this get method. So we should probably write a test case that when I do a get and it's empty, that I get an empty list. And if I add something to it and I do a get call, I should at least get one element from that. So we should probably have those tests as well. And again, I want to point out to you, sometimes you're going to see it doesn't trigger the for and ifs. If it's red, that would mean it didn't execute. The yellow, it sometimes struggles with if statements. It also struggles with reading lambda functions. So if you ever have to have a code requirements and lambdas are in there, you sometimes have to rewrite the lambda explicitly. Okay, that's it on using the code coverage tool.